Hello, Gumtown. We're here once again with Mr. Dan Harris, and he's candidate for mayor of the city of Montgomery, Alabama. How you doing this morning, Mr. Harris?
Great, great. Good to
That
be here.
that's good. That's good, and thanks for being with us again. Now, tell us how has the race for mayor been coming along for you?
Well, so far so good.
Mm-hmm.
We've actually been having a lot of success in making, really connecting
Mm-hmm.
with the voters. We've spent every weekend in a different neighborhood,
Mm-hmm.
canvassing, walking and talking and shaking hands and making new friends.
Mm-hmm.
And I found it interesting that a lot of people that I run across, even though I've been in politics in Montgomery here for 3 years, didn't know who I was, but after
Mm-hmm.
they heard my message and got to know me, they were fully supportive of my position and my candidacy.
That's great. That's awesome. Now, Mr. Harris, there's been a lot of things going on in Montgomery lately, especially like with the recent killings. What do you think about these recent killings in Montgomery, and what are your plans to help fight and reduce crime?
I really am concerned at the level of violence, specifically among our youth, and I'm
Mm-hmm.
disappointed really in the response of the administration to this problem. This
Mm-hmm.
has been a problem for quite some time now. It just
Mm-hmm.
didn't start to happen, and I really haven't seen any kind of constructive response to this particular problem. I think that we are probably doing a good job of arresting these perpetrators, and
Mm-hmm.
we have a district attorney who's doing an excellent job of
Mm-hmm.
prosecuting them and putting them away. But that's on the back end. We need to be, I think, really concerned with the front end and trying to prevent these crimes, trying to get to our young people in time to teach them how to resolve disputes peacefully.
Mm-hmm.
So I think we need to concentrate on number one, education.
Mm-hmm.
We know that the longer we can keep our kids in school, the higher the level of education, the less likely it is that they will commit a crime, or
Mm-hmm.
for that matter, become the victim of a crime. So we should concentrate on keeping them in school. Then we should make sure that there are organized activities available for them to keep them occupied after school and
Mm-hmm.
during summer vacation. I think one of the contributors to the increase in violence and in crime among our youth is the fact that this administration has consistently closed down every community center that's located
Mm-hmm.
throughout these communities.
Mm-hmm.
And studies have shown that when this happens, the crime among those youth increase, and that's what has happened. Additionally, we actually have fewer police officers on the street today than we had when this current mayor was elected back in 2009.
Mm-hmm.
And when I'm elected, the first thing I'm going to do is get with the chief of police to find out what is it that he would consider full employment, fully staffed
Mm-hmm.
police department.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's somewhere around 540, and we're somewhere around 500 or 505, give or take, and probably fewer than that on the street today.
Wow.
But yes, because I think included in that 507 number are some trainees and officers who are still in the academy. So in terms of on the street, we probably only have about 450 in a city that should have, in my mind, somewhere in the neighborhood of 540, 45 officers on the street. So the first thing I would do is to make sure that the police department is fully staffed
Mm-hmm.
and fully equipped
Mm-hmm.
to deal with not only violent crime, which is really a big problem, and that's what you asked me about, but there's also a big problem with property crime.
Mm-hmm. Wow. Well, that's good. That's good, Mr. Harris. And going on to our next question, you was talking about how education and crime has a correlation and things like that. And I know education has to deal with the workforce too. Now, what do you do? What are your plans to help like improve the workforce so we can have better individuals, ready to work and ready to obtain jobs in Montgomery?
That really is a huge problem.
Mm-hmm.
I really think that up until this point, the the system has really lowered its expectations of the students that are currently in the Montgomery public school system. So the first thing I would do would be to try to work with the Board of Education and the superintendent of schools to try to see if the expectation levels are where they should be when it comes to the majority of the students that are in the system. As you know, Montgomery County Public Schools has really a dual system. They have a magnet system, and then they have a regular system. That magnet system is 10 to 15% of the students, and the other 80 to 85% are in the regular system. I think a part of the problem is that we have students fully qualified to participate in the magnet system who are not exposed to that. But for the lot of the draw, they are excluded from the magnet system and not exposed to this fast-paced curriculum that's available in the magnet system. So one of the things I would support is expanding the magnet system and making sure that expectations among our students arises. Now, one big problem, and I know this from talking to the superintendent, is resources. And physical resources, of course, finances, but also human resources. I also know that the larger portion, 85% of our public school systems are in a system that is largely segregated. And you never get the best that the community has to offer if you are not taking full advantage of that community's diversity. If you'll notice, the magnet programs are the most diverse programs in that system, and they're the most successful programs. I'm a firm believer that diversity, when we embrace our diversity, we're at our best and we do better. So I would work with parents, with school leaders, with business leaders, with people, with all of the stakeholders to try and see if we can't identify those issues that, if we can address them, would restore the confidence and trust in public education in Montgomery County. I'd like to see a group come together and identify the issues and the problems that are keeping parents who would rather work 2 or 3 jobs to pay private school tuition than to have their kids go to public schools. Parents who are willing to commute 100-mile round trip a day just to have their kids attend a public school system in another county and work here in Montgomery. I'd like to talk with these parents and understand what would it take to restore that trust, so that we can have a fully integrated public school system full of diversity and one that is enjoys the trust and confidence of the majority of the people in Montgomery. And I think if we can do that, if we can restore the fiscal and human resources to that system, we have one of the best systems in the country. And by the way, I do think we're headed in that direction.
Good. That's good, Mr. Harris. Our next question, lately there's been a strong focus on rebuilding downtown. The city has been, revitalizing downtown, making it more of an urban area. But what about other areas of the city?
Let me first say that I am fully supportive of what's happening downtown. I've seen the downtown development plan, and I fully support it. And I am happy that Montgomery is, alas, becoming a tourist destination where people will plan trips here and spend money, and we need that in order to be a growing city. At the same time, though, I believe that more important than becoming a fabulous destination, vacation destination or tourist destination, is that Montgomery maintain its status as a great place to live. And the way you do that is by investing in the communities. For too long now, money intended to go in to invest in our communities, addressing the problems of abandoned houses and overgrown lots and street repair and infrastructure issues like drainage problems, flooding, that type of thing. For too long now, those funds have been redirected in other directions. As mayor, I would make sure that I'm high on my priority, because I know it's high among the people. I've talked to them, and these are some of the issues that they're raising. It's high on their priority. It'll be high on my priority, is to make sure that these funds are used, are invested in the communities, because the communities, that's what makes Montgomery great.
That's good. That's good, Mr. Harris. And this leads into our next question. You know, with the focus on rebuilding downtown and other areas of the city slowly but surely, Montgomery has the potential to become a great metropolitan area. And you, as mayor, what can you do to help us get there?
You know, when I ran as county commissioner, I think one of the things of my campaign was that Montgomery was on the verge of tremendous growth, both in population and in economic development. And I still believe that. But for some reason, this current administration has stifled that, because they refuse to open up opportunities to all of Montgomery. There is actually investment money on the sideline because they are not considered within the circle of this current administration. So the first thing I would do would be to open up investment opportunities to all of Montgomery, so that anybody interested in investing in the progress of this city would have an opportunity to do so. We recruited Hyundai, and we had a prediction from one of our local from a professor from one of our local universities that within 10 to 15 years, a population of Montgomery would be somewhere in the neighborhood of 300,000. I was a little bit more ambitious in my prediction. I predicted around 350,000, because I know it can happen, but it hasn't happened, and it hasn't happened because I don't think there's been any constructive effort toward making that happen. On any given day, there are anywhere between 7,000 and 8,000 workers in Southwest Montgomery. I'd venture to say that fully half of that number don't even live in Montgomery County.
Wow.
And, they're commuting every day, and there's no effort being made, I don't think, to make it more convenient for these people to live closer to where they work. One of the things that I would propose to do would be to encourage development in Southwest Montgomery near the Hyundai plant, and the Mobis plant, and the other suppliers that are in that community, commercial and residential development, so that people can live closer to where they work.
Right.
Now,
right.
Another way that we're losing population and we're losing out economically is that we're losing our youngest and our brightest to Atlanta, Birmingham, Detroit, other cities. What I would do, I would re-emphasize, change the emphasis of the current chamber from recruiting light and heavy industry. We would still recruit light and heavy industry, but I would emphasize the recruitment of high-tech, medical technology, biomedical technology, corporate headquarters. I would talk with our federal representatives, the senators and the U.S. representatives, about locating governmental regional offices here in Montgomery. The types of opportunities, these entities would create the type of opportunities that would keep our youngest and our brightest here in Montgomery. Shamefully, I graduated college some 35 years ago, and I had to leave Montgomery in order to have the career that I have enjoyed. It's painful to say, but the same is true today. Both of my kids had to leave in order to have that. My daughter is in working for a biomedical company, and she had to leave in order to find that opportunity. I think it's time that we open Montgomery up to that type of growth and those type of opportunities.
That's great. Now, why is it time for a new mayor in Montgomery?
It's exactly that. Montgomery's growth has really been stifled under this mayor's leadership. Instead of gaining population over the last 6 years, we've actually lost population, and it's a trend now. We continue to lose population with no attention to this issue and trying to address this issue. Not only that, this city has some very, very serious fiscal problems that will probably be discussed before this campaign is over. We have a debt of more than $300 million.
Wow.
Our revenue is approximately around $226 million a year. In 2 or 3 years, the service on that debt is going to be roughly 20%
Wow.
of the revenue that we take in. In other words, currently we're paying about $22 million a year in debt service. In the year 2018, that figure will go to $41 million.
Wow.
And that's double, almost double. So we are facing some serious physical problems, and I just don't think that Montgomery can afford 4 more years of this administration.
Well, that's good. Now, Mr. Harris, now how can someone contact you if they want to volunteer for the campaign with questions or concerns, or even leave monetary donations? How can they reach you?
Well, there are 3 ways. You can reach me you can go to the website and you can make contributions there. You can also volunteer there. Dan Harris, www.danharrisformayor.com. You can go to my Facebook page and the information is there, Dan Harris for Mayor. Or you can stop by the campaign headquarters at 4183 Carmichael Road, Suite A, and you can also phone. And if there's no answer, leave a message and you'll receive a return call. The phone number is area code 334-676-3933. And any of those ways you can contact us, and please do. We welcome all volunteers and all supporters of the idea of a brand new, inclusive Montgomery with leadership that is that will not only listen, but would be also responsive to your concerns and the issues that affects your daily lives.
All right, well, there you have it, Gumptown Magazine. We're here with Mr. Dan Harris. He's the candidate for mayor of Montgomery, Alabama. You're tuning in to Gumptown TV. Make sure you follow us on Facebook at Gumptown, also at Gumptown Magazine. You can also log into our YouTube channel, also Gumptown Magazine. Follow us on Twitter at Gump334Town and Instagram at Gumptown_mag. You're tuning in to Gumptown TV. Stay connected.